Donald Trump is a man of many words. He uses them like weapons, choosing each phrase to provoke a reaction. Sometimes his targets are individuals, other times they are entire groups of people. This rhetoric, often divisive and inflammatory, has real-world consequences. Across America, hate groups have taken Trump's words as a rallying cry. They see in him a validation of their prejudices. This essay will explore the connection between Trump's rhetoric and the rise of hate groups in the United States. Trump's language is often laced with coded messages that resonate with white supremacist ideology. He consistently paints immigrants as a threat to American culture and security. He demonizes Muslims and labels Black Lives Matter protesters as thugs. This language is not new. It is the same language used by white supremacists for decades. However, when spoken by a president, these words take on a new and dangerous power. The Southern Poverty Law Center, an organization that tracks hate groups, reported a surge in hate group activity following Trump's election in 2016. This surge was not a coincidence. Trump's rhetoric created a climate of fear and intolerance, emboldening white supremacists and giving them a sense of legitimacy. The violence in Charlottesville, Virginia, where a white supremacist rally turned deadly, was a stark reminder of the real-world consequences of Trump's rhetoric. Trump's defenders argue that he is not responsible for the actions of hate groups. They say that he is simply exercising his right to free speech. However, this argument ignores the power of words, especially when spoken by a person in a position of authority. When the President of the United States uses dehumanizing language, it gives permission to others to do the same. It normalizes hate. The hate groups emboldened by Trump's rhetoric are not simply fringe elements of society. They are organized, well-funded, and increasingly active. Groups like the Ku Klux Klan, the Proud Boys, and the Patriot Front have all seen a resurgence in recent years. They recruit on college campuses, hold rallies in public squares, and spread their message of hate online. One example of the disturbing trend of hate groups using Trump's rhetoric to justify their actions is the case of the Trinity White Knights. This group, with ties to the Ku Klux Klan, has been linked to the distribution of racist flyers in several states. In Charleroi, Pennsylvania, flyers appeared after Trump labeled the town as lawless at a rally. The flyers echoed Trump's language, calling for the town to be taken back from criminals and immigrants. Another group, the Blood Tribe, a neo-Nazi organization, has also been linked to an increase in activity following Trump's election. The group, known for its violent ideology and paramilitary-style training, has been identified in several states, including Ohio and Michigan. Their presence at rallies and protests has created a climate of fear and intimidation. The Proud Boys, a far-right group that promotes violence and misogyny, have been particularly active during Trump's presidency. The group, which Trump famously told to stand back and stand by during a presidential debate, has been involved in numerous violent clashes with counter-protesters. Their presence at events like the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville demonstrates their willingness to use violence to achieve their goals. Trump is not the only one responsible for the rise of hate in America. He has been aided and abetted by a chorus of supporters who have amplified his rhetoric and normalized his bigotry. Right-wing media outlets, Republican politicians, and online commentators have all played a role in creating an environment where hate can flourish. Fox News, the most watched cable news network in the country, has been a particularly egregious offender. The network's primetime lineup regularly features hosts who promote conspiracy theories, demonize immigrants, and downplay the threat of white supremacy. Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, and Laura Ingraham have all used their platforms to spread Trump's message of division and hate. Republican politicians, fearing Trump's wrath or seeking to capitalize on his popularity, have largely remained silent in the face of his bigotry. Some, like Senators Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, have even embraced Trump's rhetoric, echoing his attacks on immigrants and minorities. This silence, or worse, complicity, has sent a clear message that hate is acceptable in the Republican Party. Online platforms, such as Facebook and Twitter, have also played a role in spreading hate. These platforms have become breeding grounds for extremism, allowing hate groups to connect with potential recruits and spread their messages of intolerance. While some platforms have taken steps to address the problem, more needs to be done to combat the spread of hate speech online. The evidence is overwhelming. Trump's rhetoric has fueled the rise of hate groups in America. His words have consequences, and those consequences have been devastating for marginalized communities. To deny his role in this is to ignore the reality of the situation. Some argue that Trump cannot be held responsible for the actions of others. They claim that he is simply a provocateur, a showman who says outrageous things to get attention. But words have power, especially when spoken by the most powerful man in the world. When Trump calls Mexicans rapists and Muslims terrorists, he is not simply expressing his opinion. He is using his platform to dehumanize entire groups of people. He is creating a climate where hate and violence are acceptable. The rise of hate groups is not the only evidence of Trump's dangerous rhetoric. Hate crimes have increased during his presidency. White supremacist propaganda has proliferated online and in public spaces, and the language of white supremacy has become increasingly mainstream. Trump's rhetoric is a threat to American democracy. It undermines the values of equality and tolerance that our country was founded on. It is time for all Americans, regardless of political affiliation, to stand up and condemn hate in all its forms.